Your access level has recently increased. Excellent. Incoming message.
Welcome, agents, to episode 93 of Behind the Scanner. Our special guests tonight are Betsy Keplinger from Lexington, Kentucky, and Teemu from Espoo, Finland. Welcome to the show. Have a question for our guests? Join us during the broadcast in our live chat room on our website, behindthescanner.com, or you can submit questions through the YouTube Q&A tool. If you know someone who would make a great guest, submit their information to us at behindthescanner.com and click on Guest Suggestions. Subscribe to our channel and watch previous recordings on YouTube. For all the latest updates and news, follow us on Google+. And now, your hosts of Behind the Scanner. Good evening, agents. It's a little strange to introduce myself, but hello, welcome to another edition of Behind the Scanner. I'm Kelly Colton from Chicago, where spring is finally coming out, and my co-host tonight is Andrew Krug from Arlington, Virginia. Hi, Andrew.
Hey, Kelly, how's it going?
Great, thanks. So you're East Coast tonight, huh?
Yep. This week I'm on the East Coast, enjoying the summer weather that's finally here.
The struggle was real.
Yes, definitely.
Also, coming to us from the East Coast, we've got the Weekly Truth with Typhoon Jin from Operation Essex.
Hi there.
And Andrew, I understand that you're going to be bringing us the codes of the show.
I hope so. Yeah, they haven't been delivered yet, but hopefully they'll get here in time.
Awesome. Cross my fingers. Maybe some power cubes. Everyone's still suffering from the drought. And so, tonight, please welcome our guests, Betsy and Teemu, tonight. Welcome, agents.
Hi.
Haha. So usually we like to start our interviews with something, kind of normal, like, how did you hear about Ingress? What's your agent name? But tonight we're going to start off with a little something different. Are you or are you not wearing pants? Betsy.
Well, I don't know if I should say on the air whether or not I am.
It's totally fine.
But no pants tonight.
No pants. All right. And Teemu, how about you?
Well, I'm in a sauna, enjoying the heat, so no clothes.
They don't really allow pants in, do they? So, Betsy, what can you tell us? What's the story behind Team No Pants?
Well, I have an operator chat that I belong to, and we always goof around about no pants for operating, and so I operate with a group of folks, and the last couple times that we've operated, we've gone no pants. So we've been in a command center where there's a group of us, and we're all no pants.
Awesome. And so, Teemu, why do so many of your teammates assume you're not wearing any pants either?
Well, it probably is because we have a habit of having naked intel on our ops always. And also when I'm on field as boots, I tend to take at least all the shirts off.
It's always important to get comfortable when you're doing intel, so I can appreciate that and relate to that. But I guess I'll start the show off with a more traditional question. So, Teemu, how do you actually pronounce your agent name? And I guess why did you decide to associate yourself with the mythical beast that it is?
Well, I pronounce it Cthultist, and I've been great fan of Lovecraft and his works for ages, so it was quite natural to me to combine the cult with this game.
Yeah, there's a lot of crossover and some Lovecraftian things going on with Ingress too, so probably a wise choice, wise decision. All right, Betsy, I guess are you a lettuce farmer? Do you enjoy salad? What's the deal there?
Well, I was in a car with a couple guys that I work with, 2 of which were Resistance, and there were 2 others that had joined Enlightened, and I joined Enlightened, and I had to come up with a name. So I said Secret Agent Lady, and since you can't put special characters in, it was S.A. Lady, but it's gone to Salady, and I often get called Salady or Salad Lady.
Yeah. I can definitely see that. Yeah, that's okay though. Just carry around like a bottle of ranch dressing with you, and everybody will just assume it's Salad Lady.
Well, Betsy, I'm almost surprised you didn't go with anything sort of dog-related. You share so many photos of dogs on your G+. Are they all fosters, or do some of them reside with you?
I have 2 permanent dogs right now. My big boy named Blizzard. I've had him for 7.5 years, and I just adopted a 14-week-old puppy. And then I have a 3-legged foster, and then in the past year, I've had about 8 fosters go through the house. It's sometimes hard to let them go, but you know that you're doing something really good for them and, giving them a better life.
That's really nice. Okay, Teemu, switching gears. How many parties, how many anomalies have you been to exactly?
17 so far. 2 of them here in Finland and 15 abroad.
Wow.
17. 17. 17.
Yes.
Wow. That's impressive. And Betsy, I know you've participated in many anomalies near and far, and way more ops than it might appear. What role do you usually play?
I'm an all-around player. I like to help in the planning cycle. I like to do the operations for it, and I also work with the decoding community. So I like to interconnect all of the groups together.
I know we've interacted in anomalies before, but this is the first time that we're talking face-to-face, so this has been a real treat.
So I want to jump back to Teemu real quick. So with Aegis Nova being announced and you going all over the place with anomalies, where are you going to go for Aegis Nova? What cities are you going to see?
Yeah, I'm going to Rotterdam first, and then I'm planning on going to Dublin.
Wow, awesome. Rotterdam is going to be a big one.
Yeah, it seems so.
Yeah.
Plenty of people already signed up, so it seems like a fun thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Dublin might be a bit smaller, but we had so much fun there in Helios, so have to repeat that.
Teemu, what role do you plan on doing during the anomaly?
I've played several different roles. I did a couple of team leader roles early in 2014, and then I tried to lay a little bit back, but there's always important team radio and team lead roles coming up, so probably gonna do at least team lead in Dublin.
Well, I'm sure your teammates will probably have a hard time finding you because you don't dress unique or do anything to stand out. So I don't know. Maybe do something so they can at least figure out where to go next. But all right, for everybody watching, you can interact with us live in our chat room on our website behindthescanner.com. Just go there, click chat on the top. And I believe, nope, maybe we don't have a demonstration of that, but that's okay. It's pretty easy. BehindTheScanner.com, click on chat on the top. pick a username, doesn't matter what it is, and join us. And you can ask questions of our guests. We'll give away codes. We've got Jesse in there right now. It's a good time. So you can even do it with your shirt off if you want. And with that,
or no pants. Or no pants.
No, yeah. Funny enough, not our first shirtless or pantsless episode. You have to go back in the archives. That could be a trivia question for the chat room. Which episode was our first shirtless episode? So.
And guests who were on there, you can't give it away. So.
Yes, true.
Putting it out there.
All right. So enough of addressing the giant elephant in the room. Let's get back to the questions. Let's switch from elephants to dogs. So Betsy, obviously you love dogs. We can hear them in the background, and you're also a parrot head, I guess. So
yes.
Does that mean like the music? Do you love parrots? Like what's?
It's a kind of like a Jimmy Buffett groupie.
Okay.
But really, it's a group of people that get together to party with a purpose. And so not only do we party, but we also, on a monthly basis, donate time or money to a charity of the team's choosing.
Very cool. What was the most recent charity?
Oh, geez. I know we did one for the local blind association. It was one of the local tropical bands played, and they had a whole bunch of silent auction items and raffles.
That's really cool. You guys do that pretty regularly, you said?
Yeah, it's a meeting once a month, a happy hour once a month. They try to fit a party in once a month. If we do an on-site or hands-on activity, then that's going to be another piece. And then in November, they have a big all-group meeting down in Key West. It's called the Meeting of the Minds. And anybody can go to that one. And Jimmy Buffett showed up last year, so you never know when Jimmy's going to show up.
Very cool. Yeah, keep it up. That's good work. But let's stay on the music topic a little bit. Are you? Rumor is maybe possibly a little bit of a musician yourself. Is that true?
I sing, and I ran an open mic night in college, and I also like to karaoke when I can get out. And in high school and college, I played clarinet, saxophone, and the piano. So all around traveling bands. It was kind of fun.
Definitely sounds like a good time. I'm sure there's no sad times if you can find a karaoke bar. There's always a good time to be had there. So. All right, let's switch over to Teemu. Speaking of music and performance, I've heard that you also love theater. Is that true?
Yeah, I've been acting quite a long time. I started around 6-7 years old. And did quite a lot of stuff on stage and then on TV, some small thing. But of course, recently I've been just too busy with everything else that I can't do theater my own. But I really love to see different kinds of plays, and I try to see them as often as I can.
What has been your favorite role that you've actually performed in?
Favorite role was in this musical satire called Arthur, where I played mayor. It was a bit of fun. We had this English speaking theater group in Helsinki, and we just kind of made the role choices between the actors because the director had kind of different ideas, but we showed her that it's better that way, what we designed.
Yeah. Teaching the director how to direct and pick. That's all right. So you're just helping them out, being the casting agent. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So.
Yeah, sticking with the music theme, it's kind of fun to be sort of the music director of your own life. And there is a community out there that's like my Ingress soundtrack, and I remember #Ingress playlist. And so my question to you both, and let's start with Teemu, what would be your Ingress theme song?
My Ingress theme song has to be a video I have posted in many of the Hangouts. It's from a band called Rytmihäiriö, and the song is titled Olen kännissä, which means that I'm intoxicated. The video features two priests having some brotherly love.
Having some brotherly love.
Yeah, I'm not going to even touch that one.
Okay, I guess I'll have to watch it later. I'm guessing it's an SFW, right? And Betsy, how about you? What's your Ingress theme song?
Well, when I was working my way up to level 8, they were playing a song called Some Nights by Fun on the radio all the time, and it just became my theme song because it was always on when we were out.
I love that song.
It's a great song.
Andrew, do you have an Ingress theme song?
I guess because of my name, it's probably the Red Solo Cup song. Plus, I like to party too, so it kind of is fitting, I guess. But I never really gave it much thought.
Well, it's the Behind the Scenes theme song.
Right. Sorry, I just dropped the pen here because it's too obvious. Come on, you got to pick something else. Like, I don't know. It's Raining Men. That would be appropriate for tonight. Right? All right. Well, before we get to our second half of the show, it is time for the Weekly Truth. And this week, back again, we've got Typhoon Jim from Operation Essex catch us up on some of the developments of the Ingress investigation. So, everyone, please welcome back to Behind the Scanner, Operation Essex investigator, Typhoon Jim.
Hey, good evening. All's well.
So catch us up. What has happened since, I guess, maybe over the course of the last 7 days?
Let's see. The big news that everybody's been focused on is Oliver Linton Wolf's Global Portal Survey. I know some of you folks have probably participated, where basically Oliver Linton Wolf was asking agents all over the world to work with a sequence of glyphs that, when presented in front of portals, certain portals that span the entire planet, would assist him in releasing the lock on XM that the Obsidian Shield has created. Now, previously he's released a stash of power cubes, which all of us, I'm sure, have benefited from. But the larger question is that I feel this is yet another manifestation of the kind of blockages of XM that we've seen in the past story of Ingress. Previously, the two ones that everybody knows about were the ones that happened during Helios, where you had the portal virus that was created by Devra Bogdanovich and created massive global decay. Now, that was targeted mostly at resonators. It didn't impact ambient XM, but it meant that the portals themselves consumed more power. And so as a result, they went neutral far more quickly. Now, the other thing that Devra did is that she also directly blocked off humans themselves through a very controversial vaccine that supposedly had something like a 25% mortality rate, which I imagine is a good reason why it wasn't adopted more broadly. But at any rate, this is another example of that where both factions have seen a disruption to the portal system and have been tasked with removing that disruption. Now, the question that you have to ask at this point is that we all know that the new name of the series has been released, Aegis Nova. And the tagline of Aegis Nova is, if you've seen the sign-up pages, it's been Break the Shield. Now, that shield, it is, after all, when it was activated by the Acolyte, the plan was to, as she said in her video, to silence the Nazir. Now, it possibly has silenced everybody at once. So is the question, are we going to break the shield selectively? Is that the plan? Or is it going to be a matter of the Resistance is going to feel that maybe the Obsidian Shield was a bad move and that they want to knock it out completely? And so that's something that we're going to see developing as the Aegis Nova anomalies are introduced. So I think the major things to watch are, once the XM flow is introduced from what Oliver Linton Wolf was talking about, we're going to want to see what effect that has. Because remember, one thing that you need to note is that when the Obsidian Shield was activated in the first place, the result of that was the destruction of the Vesuvian Magnus and possibly the eruption of Pompeii. And so we could be talking about a much larger effect than one would expect, and this would be a normal thing for Oliver Linton Wolf to create that kind of effect.
Yeah, actually, he did Epiphany Night, actually, right?
Exactly right.
Was a result of his, was it Power Cube experiment or Power Cube something, right?
Yeah, he was designing the Power Cube at that point. In fact, it was funny. Right after the result of Obsidian, he was speaking with the Acolyte, and he said, "Well, more or less, I imagine I'm exonerated now for introducing that Power Cube, aren't I?" Jury's still out.
Interesting. So, keeping on topic of Power Cubes and good old Dr. Ali, what do we have any idea on, now that his survey is complete, maybe how much XM might be coming back, or how long the stockpiles last? Are there any clues or things out there to give us a sense of that?
Now, he has specifically said that his stockpile is dwindling. So I think this would point to, well, either A, he has a plan, and we might see the return of some XM, or B, maybe he's just stalling for time. Maybe his answers are not as clear as he would expect. And my personal feeling is I think things might not be the same as they always were. Because, again, remember, the last time, remember when Deborah Bogdanovich's portal virus was fought using the creation of large mind unit control fields all over the planet? I think there was 700 million to 1 billion. And what happened was that after that was set up and the portal virus was supposedly defeated, what we saw then was the emergence of the Helios artifacts, which led us on the path to Darsana. This was an outcome that was hinted at the time by Roland Jarvis, but we didn't quite know what he meant. So my question is that we've seen similar hints in the past of a great, strange outcome that will come from all of this work with the Obsidian Shield and even the act of breaking it. So the thing to watch is maybe Oliver Linton Wolf's actions are going to simply be the next step in that process to this greater catastrophe.
Very interesting indeed. And I guess we'll start to know the effects of everything shortly. And
I would imagine.
by the end of Tokyo, who knows what'll happen, right? So
I find it interesting that we see an extra weekend of Aegis Nova announced just as Oliver Linton Wolf announces that he has a solution for this problem. Is it related? Is it a larger anomaly sequence now? Who knows?
Stay tuned, as always. Well, we look forward to getting caught up next week and see what transpires between then. Any other last parting words of wisdom?
I think one thing that all agents should keep in mind is that the last time that the Obsidian artifacts were activated was a very dangerous time, but it was also something that I think set the stage for everything that we know in terms of exotic matter now. I think the world in which Oliver Linton Wolf designed the Power Cube, and the world in which Ezekiel Calvin set up the Niantic Project was definitely a post-Obsidian Shield world. And so what we're dealing with now, we're about to see what the effects of that first cycle were. Can we make it different? Who knows?
Interesting. Well, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. So thanks, man, for coming on and catching us up. And like I said, next week we'll see what's happened. Maybe we'll know what happened with the portal survey.
Absolutely.
I guess 7 days. So, all right. Moving on now, I guess it is. Oh yeah, it is time for the code of the show. So these are shareable but limited redeemable codes. Meaning they might be good for 20, they might be good for 500, they might be good for 5,000. Maybe they'll have power cubes. Maybe they'll have level 1 resonators. Maybe they'll have my phone number. I have no idea. So with that, let's see. How can I do this? I think we do it like this, right? Drum roll. And survey says, oh, there it is. Perfect. Ooh, that's a super califragilistic long one. Okay. We'll leave that. Oh, you know what? This is like, all right, hold on. This is community manager work. So there we go. All right, there you go.
Looking all official.
Those Velcro patches, they're the business.
I know.
I mean, I got this whole drawer of patches I can use now because of that.
The thing with Hangouts is it's whatever I show on the screen, it's backwards to me but correct to you. So I'd try to read that out, but I really can't because it's really big and really backwards. 4 is an S or a 5. Anyway, let's leave that up there for a bit. So, how's everybody else doing? Miss Kelly, how has life been treating you? We're interviewing the guest, but let me interview you for a second.
Oh, there's nothing interesting to know about what I'm doing.
Okay. Let's check in with with the chat room then.
Yeah, what's going on in the chat room?
Let's see. They want to know how much longer Teemu can stand in the sauna, what he's drinking, where people are traveling. Did anybody get the trivia question right? I don't know. What was the first? I'll give you a hint. I believe it was like around episode 40-ish, somewhere around there. Yeah, I think that's safe enough. Plus or minus, what, like 5 maybe? Or was it a little bit beyond that? Anyway.
Oh, and while we're talking about the chat room, I want to give a shout out to some of our former guests. I see we've got Moo in there. We've got Robert. Who else? Addis from last week? Addis?
We have the always present Shade from Trees joining from New Zealand, I think. So, and Renegades too tonight. Nice. That was my, yeah, that was bad. I won't even try to do it again. So anyway, all right, let's move on. I think that's been out there long enough. Let's get back to Behind the Scanner. All right, so what were we talking about before we left? I have no idea. So let's just switch into the topic of anomalies. How about that? Teemu, flash shards, old school cluster battles, or hybrid events? You've been to like 4,000 of them. What do you prefer?
I'd love to try a hybrid event. I've tried clusters and flash shards, and flash shards are awesome when the site is small enough. But for Vienna, there was not enough to do during the flash shards, and clusters have been really, really boring in Europe for a long time. So it's especially in primary. So it would be nice to see a hybrid anomaly. I think that would be a lot more fun than the others.
We shall see. Hopefully, we'll find out soon. All right, Betsy. Any preference? I know you kind of do the eye in the sky thing a lot.
I kind of like the cluster, the old school. But if you were to offer a hybrid, that would be kind of cool. I would really like to see how that one goes.
Interesting. Yeah, I've not participated in a flash shard event personally, and I wasn't over in Japan to know how the hybrid goes. But I'd be interested in the hybrid too. That seems like a pretty interesting mix. So.
Need more gear. Make sure you bring more gear. So, you're both known for anomalies and the big ops, but I'm wondering, what's your local day-to-day play style like? Betsy, how about we start with you?
My day-to-day is playing to and from work, to and from the gym, and on the days that I can afford to do it when I don't have to get home too quick, I'll play for a couple hours after the gym on the way home. And then, of course, the extended playtime to the store. Either it's to or from the store with the groceries melting in the car.
The salad's getting warm and limp. Yeah.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, that sounds like me too. Playing to in the office, to the gym. Sometimes I play at the gym since my gym's are portals, so that works out really well. Teemu, how about you?
Well, I've always been playing whenever I'm walking to somewhere to work or to movies or things like that. And that's the main style of playing for me, that I just keep playing whenever I'm mobile. But I love the fact that we have a regular farm on Mondays locally, and then of course whenever we get bored we just do a field trip.
So do you find you like to build more or destroy more?
Well, I've always been quite level player. I do everything, so there's no really preference on that one.
I like how it just puts in there, when we get bored, we just do like big field ops. Like they just kind of.
Yeah. It happens. No biggie.
Tell you what, you go 300 kilometers that way, and I'll go 300 kilometers that way, and then we'll connect everything. So, all right. For everyone watching, remember you can submit questions for our guests. Very shortly, we are going to do the guest questions, so get them in. You can do that either by, if you're on YouTube, click the banner at the bottom, where it says be part of the conversation, and from there click the little square grid icon up at the top and select Q&A. Otherwise, you can join us in our chat room on behindthescanner.com. Just click on chat up the top and join us there, and you can ask the guest questions there. We're collecting them both. So, well, let's see here. Teemu, you seem to enjoy a lot of laughs. Obviously, you're a guy who seems to like life. So, what's one of the funniest moments you've experienced in Ingress?
Well, we've had several nice ops that gave lots of fun moments, like going to do an op to northern Finland with a girl who was dating the leading local frog at the time, and trying to hide from him and succeeding it so that he only knew in the morning that we did a big field over Europe, and just generally appearing in places where nobody else thinks I could be. That's really much fun, because then it's always nice to see the surprised faces of the opponent.
I picture you just popping out of like a tree somewhere going, surprise! And then throwing a big link, and then the field just pops up and everybody's like, oh man, he got us again. Shucks. So we'll see if somebody can animate that. We need the Teemu cartoon. That would be fantastic. We know a lot of animators.
I would watch that.
Yeah, you can draw it.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Betsy, so you've been around the Ingress block a lot. What do you consider one of the most interesting parts of anomalies?
To me, the most interesting part is the people that show up to play and the interactions with them. So, you know, you go to a site or you talk to people at a site, and your team consists of people from outside of the area that the anomaly is in, sometimes outside of where you actually have been before. And sometimes it's, you know, the interaction with people you've played with before as well. So it's just meeting and getting to know people that you wouldn't otherwise have gotten to know.
Very cool. Yeah, they are definitely I guess, you know what? They're like the mixers of 2015. People just get together and have a good time, and no boundaries. Everybody just enjoys themselves.
No boundaries.
Yeah, no pants.
That's true. I have been to a couple of anomalies where I've worn a kilt, so no pants, no shorts. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Follow-up question for you, Betsy, because we mentioned, you know, you've been an operated intel for a lot of different anomalies. When you're approached to provide intel and be an op for a place that you've never been to, how much of the city do you actually learn about? Do you scope it out in advance? Do you walk away with a knowledge that you didn't have? Do you feel like you've been there?
It depends on the site. So Pittsburgh was kind of fun. We got to be on site, but we didn't get to be on site where the anomaly was happening. So we didn't get the up close and personal on that. But I've loved maps from the beginning of time. And when I grew up, we would always take road trips from Connecticut to Illinois or New Jersey, and we'd always have a map in the car. So for me, I like to look at the maps and see those pieces, you know, the highways and everything, but then take it to the satellite view and zoom in on some of the areas and try and get a feel for that area. So Wellington, New Zealand was awesome because I went in and looked at it on the satellite version of the map so I could really see what was there.
Really appreciated your help, actually, in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Betsy's no stranger to the Midwestern anomalies.
No, and then New York City shards, because when we had quite a few go through that area, I tended to operate for those.
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah, those were hard, but you know, the thing about the regular shards, the previous shards, was that they brought people in who never get to really go on site to an anomaly. So it gave other people a chance to play and get to know other people throughout the areas that they are in.
Yeah, great display of teamwork. So what I hear about next, you know, nobody likes to brag about themselves too much, but I want to hear about, Betsy, what would you consider one of your greatest accomplishments in game?
Well, in game, I would think just getting to level 8 before it became 16. Playing outside of the scanner, it's actually teaching other operators what to do. And to me, that learning process and having somebody come on board and really understand how that role fits into everything, that really is one of my biggest accomplishments. That's what I like to see happen.
Hey, Teemu, how about you?
Well, one great thing was coordinating clearing for Eureka Op while I was leading a team in Bergen Anomaly. And then, of course, the awesome moment when we leveled up to level 14 together with Heather Temuth as first players in Finland.
And is there anything you're striving for next?
Well, there are some nice little plans to throw even longer links that I have done before and things like that. So those are the ones I'm striving for now.
And you already have Guardian and Sojourner and...
Yeah, of course.
I was going to say most of the streaks. That seemed a little appropriate.
More big fields. He wants to make more big fields. All right. So this next, you know what? Hold on. For this next question, let me put that back on. All right. Let's start with you, Betsy. No pressure here. Feel free to be blunt and honest. I can handle it. But if you could change anything about Ingress, or better yet, how about even anomalies? So, I mean, anything, literally. You know, what would it be?
My biggest thing right now would be to eliminate the spoofers. Because you spend the money to go and put up the field, and you want it to last, and you expect it to last, and go through all of that planning, only to have it spoofed down within minutes. So to me, that would be like one of the biggest things that you could do.
Yeah, definitely. As a player who's been around since literally day one, I empathize with that wholeheartedly because I've been on both sides of it, and I can tell you that problem is actively being worked. You know, we can't tip our hand too much because obviously we don't want people to figure out what's going on. Sometimes it may not seem like it, but I can promise you it is definitely a priority, and good things are occurring. So, Teemu, how about yourself? If you could change anything, what would it be?
Well, I concentrate on faster and better communication from Niantic towards players, because that would alleviate a lot of the anxiety and stress that players have towards the decisions that Niantic makes. Especially with the spoofers, that's quite bad that we don't get enough information about what's the situation and how you're going to deal with them, apart from sudden blocks from certain accounts.
So a bit more transparency then.
Yeah.
Cool. Good feedback. Yeah, definitely good feedback. I have my pen. I've written it down. So, all right. Thank you, guys. Sorry to put you on the hot seat, but I wanted to ask that question. Now we can get back to the regular show.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a good way to use some instant viewer feedback, user feedback. And speaking of instant user feedback, I've got a few questions from our audience. So our guests, I hope you're ready to take these. Let's see, what do we got here? So let's start off with kind of a lighter one. Hitram says, at Teemu, did it happen to show up at Anomaly with level 1 bursters?
I may have had few level 1 bursters, not full inventory yet, but I usually have a shitload of keys, so I don't necessarily have that much so-called usable gears, but that's what the passcodes are for.
Okay. Did you buy some of the key lockers when those were made available?
Yeah, of course I bought 5 of them, but that doesn't really help when you have 1,400 keys.
You know, I mean, any little bit helps, I suppose. And Addis wants to know, Teemu, which was your most drunk anomaly?
During measurements or after them? I think during measurements it must have been, it must have been Riika. That was, during measurements, was quite nice to be drunk all the time. But after measurements, I'd say it was definitely Hamburg.
And do you guys have any kind of anomaly drinking game?
Not really. We just drink all the time. No need for games for that.
All right, well, I've got another one for Betsy. Betsy, volunteering has defined you as a parrot head. Do you find any similarities between the Ingress communities that you've worked with and other communities outside of Ingress?
Man, that's a tough question. I do in some respects, because I have seen a lot of GoFundMes and things like that to try and help out other Ingress players. And I think that that's great to see that and to help out where possible. And a lot of unfortunate events in the last year, so I just think it's great to see that kind of camaraderie sometimes within the game itself.
And how about submitting portals? One of our viewers, Ivan Russell, asks both of you, who wants to travel to Japan to submit portals? Do you guys miss that?
I would just love to travel to Japan. I've never been there, and I've seen pictures, and I've had friends that have gone that just say that it's great to go and see it. I would love to go there. Submitting portals would be a bonus.
And Teemu, is Japan on your short list?
Yeah, I'd go to Japan if I had enough time and money for it. Haven't ever been that keen on submitting portals, so that's not a real aspect for me. But visiting Japan would be nice.
Yeah, and especially if that can help get us some Pokemon Go invitations. If only we knew someone who knew anything about Pokemon Go.
What's that? Is that like a new, is that a new item?
Yeah,
it's like a key
beta
locker.
invite. Very, very rare. So I have another question for Teemu. This is from our very own cameraman, Walker. You are an anomaly veteran. 17 anomalies is amazing, and likely more than agents could ever dream about. What do you say to agents that see that and want to embrace what you've done? Is there anything to avoid or embrace?
Tough one. I don't know. It's just the whole anomaly thing got kind of crazy after the first trip to Berlin. It was just being surrounded by awesome people and meeting all the crazy guys who are doing outstanding work on the field. That got me so addicted to it. For me, it's always been like because I've always used all the money I get for entertaining myself. Now I just don't watch that many movies that I used to. I use half of the money to travel to events. So hard to say. You can always find ways to do it, and the reason why I love it is the people that I meet, especially from Berlin. It started with Vicky sending me a random message during night before the event, and after that, just bonding with all the people.
And you mean Vicky Ellen?
Yeah.
Oh, shout out to her. She's one of our former guests. Awesome. And so kind of going along with being a veteran of things, Betsy, what would your advice be for someone who wants to get involved with becoming an operator?
To start out locally and learn how to create fields, and then get involved in regional fields, and then if they like all that, then to see about getting involved in the anomalies. Obviously, cluster anomalies are treated differently from flash anomalies, so it it takes slightly different skill sets for each one. So it really depends on how fast they like the gameplay to happen.
Okay, and I want to have one more question. This is for both of you. Betsy, let's start with you. Our viewer, Radavaras, I don't know if I said that right, wants to know, what is your most extreme action you have done during an Ingress operation?
I'm trying to think an extreme action. Well, the Resistance locally put up a field, actually a series of fields. I went out for 10-minute takedown and came home 10 hours later after driving, how many hours? It was 7 hours round trip, I think, total, down to eastern Kentucky to the middle of nowhere to take out fields that were being put up, and not knowing what I was going to run into. So that I would have to say was like a big one.
And Teemu, how about you? What was your most extreme action you've done during an op?
I think it must be the cell war we had in Helsinki cell, which lasted the whole cycle. I slept during that time 22 hours. I worked the whole time and still managed to be active on all checkpoints.
No sleep. No sleep. Andrew, did you have any questions you wanted to ask of our guests?
Oh gosh, so many I don't even know where to start. I mean, whenever there's like an event in Europe, I always see Teemu's picture posted. How do you choose your outfits and the color of your hair for that day? Like, what's the decision process?
Well, color needs to be somewhat blue.
Fair enough.
I just grab whatever dye I can get from the closest supermarket, but for outfits it's been like that. For colder weather I have a jacket that I can put patches on, and last summer I decided that since all the anomalies seem to be in tropical weather, I need something for warmer weather, so I bought the leather vest and start adding patches on that one.
I saw that, yeah. You have a lot of patches. But so let me ask you this question. Since you've been to so many different anomalies and places, is there a city that you would like to see an anomaly at that hasn't had one yet?
I think Oslo should have a primary event. That's awesome place, and I would love to have an anomaly there.
No biased input on your part, right? It's a good city. There's no Oslo. Yeah. Have they had anything there? Has there been a?
They had just the mission day.
Right. Okay. Cool. What about you,
How
Betsy?
many mission days have you gone on?
Actually, Teemu, have you been to all the mission days after the anomalies?
Well, not really. I mean, I was in Milan, but I didn't do any of the mission day missions. I just did one banner that I started earlier that weekend, so not really, just a few.
I imagine, especially with as much as you guys party during the anomaly too, that would be kind of hard to crawl out of bed in the morning and
might be
get up early. So Betsy, you've operated for a lot of anomalies. We've already established that. Is there any city that you haven't operated for that you would love to interact with, love to have an anomaly? What are your thoughts?
Oh, geez, that's a hard one. Any city?
Any city. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if Montreal has had one. That would be fun, but the only issue there is that I believe a lot of people are French-speaking there, so the operator set would need to be French. I would massacre the names.
Nah, I've been there. They do English and French. They're Anglophones. I mean,
they do, but I've operated for up there, and they didn't let me, say any of the names of the streets or anything because they knew I would massacre it. So.
That's pretty funny. I love, actually, Montreal is a beautiful city, especially old Montreal. Oh, man, I would love to go there. All right, good feedback. So
we do have Calgary. We want another Canadian city.
Calgary's kind of like in the western third of it, though. Yeah. It's not really center or eastern. I mean, I guess it's
more center. West.
Yeah.
West of center?
It's like considering Minneapolis being the Midwest, right? It's kind of west Midwest. Anyway, all right. I'm gonna get hate mail from Minneapolis folks for saying that. So it's time for our BTS tradition, for better or for worse. We give every guest at the end of our interview 60 seconds to talk about whatever they want. You can give a shout out to somebody, you can give thanks, you can dance a jig, whatever. Betsy, why don't you start us off?
Okay, so when I first started, I thought this was a fun game, but I thought people were way too obsessed about it. And I said, no, I'm never going to be obsessed about it. And here I am, just over 2 years later, completely obsessed still. So it's been an interesting and fun ride. When I came to the game, I said I wanted to meet people locally and get out more locally. And I did that in the beginning, but now I have been playing at my desk more than not, and meeting people worldwide. I can't even list out the number of people that I've met and interacted with, and everybody has been great to deal with, pretty much. I would do it all over again. The person or people that I'd like to thank the most are Kat Vinch. She set me on a path that no one else could have set me on, and helped me start the ride. And then Crystal, Urban Ginger Ale, Jesse, of course, Bo and Kyle and Derek and Renegades and a whole bunch of other people. It's just been one heck of a trip, and I can't wait to see where things go from here.
Well said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Teemu?
Okay, Teemu.
The floor is yours, my man.
Well, first I need to thank Kihaku for lending me the sauna for tonight's session. Then I have to shout out to my family. You're always great. I love you guys. Kraken, awesome team, awesome people. Let's be drunk together in next Anomaly 2. Then, of course, to Stina in Denmark. Thanks for kidnapping me and driving me around northern Denmark. Trespassing Royal Garden was awesome. Yeah, to the local team. Such a dedicated group of insane resistance people that do whatever it takes to achieve the goals that we have set for ourselves. You guys are great, and it's a pleasure to work with you.
Nicely said. Yeah, the bonds that you form, the relationships you make in Ingress, it's It's pretty impressive. Good feeling. All right.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Betsy and Teemu, for joining us tonight. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank
Angie,
you.
Pleasure having you as well.
It was been fun.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It's always good to like actually talk to the people that you see online a lot, or even chat with, or you see pictures of a lot. To put the name with the face and interact it's cool. So, and also because it's kind of late there, Teemu. So thank you for staying up as well. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, well, join us next week, everybody. We'll have a couple more guests on. I don't know who they are yet, but happy hacking.
It's
And
always
peace
a
for you.
surprise.
Bye-bye.
Betsy,
Bye now.
just for you, Betsy, I'm going to see if I can't play this over our outro music.
Trying to forget, but in between the drinks and subtle things, the holes in my apologies, you know, I'm trying hard to take it back, so if I resign, the bar closes.
Oh boy.
There's a question about towels. I think I missed that question. How important are towels to you guys?
Especially towels during Go Rock. That sounds very important.
Oh man, Go Rush should give away towels.
Towels in the
Great little-
sauna.
Yeah.